Oh, are we live? Are we live? I don't know. Hi, buddy. I know. All right, let's see. Can we fix this? Okay. Can we go to the Creator Studio? How does this work? Oh, I think we are live. Oh, this is good. This is good news. Okay, that means I can share this, right? Ooh. Okay, I think I can share this. Which means I need to edit a couple posts. Which is okay. No problem. Here's what we'll do is we will go to Facebook and we're just going to edit this link. Post. New link to the live stream in case you missed it. Okay, I think we're doing all right. Okay, let's see. Oh, and then I have to go to a different post here, and we can update that. Okay, I think we're in business. Let me just tell my wife that I've got a new link. Lots of tech issues this time, which is fine. Okay. We've got lots of fun things planned today. My dog is sitting here next to me, cowering. What are you doing? Who are you talking to? That's okay. So today I have some, I know, buddy. I've got some things that I want to do. I want to change a couple things with this character and hopefully make it a little bit more friendly, maybe a little bit more flexible, and we can hopefully start using him in some other stuff. There's things I like about this one and there's things I don't. Hi, buddy. I know you want to play. You want to sit on my lap? You want to say hi? Say hi, everybody. So I built this other puppet. Let's see if we can load him up. Yeah. This computer is getting very old, so a lot of programs are starting to yell at me, which is fine. Okay, so the things I like about this character is it's got a better head turn, I think. It's got a little bit more character to it in general. I think it's a bit more expressive. And I also really like its mouth controls. We kind of get some better, I don't know, more fluid animation out of this. The way I've got my other rig set up is it has these predetermined mouth shapes that I can make on the timeline, which is kind of good, but I don't know. It's forcing me to create all these mouth shapes that that I don't necessarily have to. And I don't like the way I have to animate it. You have to animate it on a per frame basis, like with time remapping. It just doesn't feel very good. This mouth that I built with the help of some videos on YouTube. Shout out to Backwoods Animation. Check out their channel for how to build these rigs. So I kind of want to steal this mouth that I already built and hopefully use it for the Erksome rig. Yeah. Plus I like the eyes a lot more too. The pie eyes that I was using for just I don't know, they don't feel quite right, I think. So I'd like to make a new puppet for 2020 and have some more fun that way. So let's open that back up. File, open recent. We're gonna go that one. Who's messaging me? No, we don't have to do that. Yes, it needs to convert. That's fine. So I'll be using joysticks and sliders, and of course I'll be using the what's it called? Rubber hose 2 to build some of this rig. Woo! I love playing with this thing. I think it's so fun. The puppet that I was using, Chelsea asks what puppet I was what this puppet was for. This puppet was something that I was just building for some personal projects. So I decided to kind of build it in After Effects, and now I built that one in a nice way, and now I want to take all the things that I learned using that rig and transfer it over. The other thing about this particular rig is it's piping in a lot of assets from Illustrator, and I am afraid it's going to make this rig a little bloated, and I think if I can build the whole thing within After Effects, it'll be a bit lighter file-wise, and it won't chug so much. So that's the plan. So let's see. We could start by opening up joysticks and sliders. And also, I don't like the hands in this rig. I never use them. I think they're just hindering me. So let's see if we can find it. Yeah. I can disjoint it a little bit. Where's the wrist? There it is. Why can't I grab it? Do I not have something turned on? Do I have it locked? No, I just can't see it, literally. This stuff won't actually render. I could turn this off of full. I'm just turning this to a lower resolution so it's much faster to move around. So before I get too far into the rig stuff, because this is going to chug a little bit, it's a little ugly, I want to show you guys some of the matte paintings that I was creating for a comic idea. So I got a comic idea that I think is, or I guess it's more of an animation idea. I have an animation idea that I think is pretty neat. I'm playing off of the like New Year, New Me memes that are kind of going around. So I'm gonna say that I'm creating kind of robot self for like New Year, New Me, like literally building a new me. So the first thing we're gonna do is do like a kitchen shot. And I was pulling assets from like Unsplash and things like that, which are always great for like free assets. Let's see if we can show it. And since we know we're building this stuff for Instagram, we already have our sizes. Let's see. Change this to half. There we go. So the first shot, we're going to just have our character sit here in the kitchen. and it'll be like a plate of beets or something, learning how to eat some beets. And this is a pretty simple setup that I've got for this particular shot. We've got our chair and we've got our table. So let me just kind of break this down for you. The image we're using for the wood table is here. This is the kitchen that we're using, which I think is just a nice simple kitchen. It's not too ornate. It's not too messy. It's not too noisy, but it's still the right angle that I need. So I got this. I think I got this from Unsplash. Yeah, it even says. Here's a kitchen that I thought about using. This is just I like that it looks a little cheap, but I don't know. I don't think it's quite good enough. And I don't know how I'm going to get rid of this sort of translucent glass. So back to the comp. We've got our background layer, which I've blurred. I need to reset this workspace so that we can see the effects that I've got on here. Window. Actually, we'll go to the animation workspace. That should give me, there it is. So on here, what am I doing to this background? I'm blurring it, obviously, just to give it a little bit of camera lens blur. Then I've desaturated it, just to kind of brighten it up. I've desaturated it, or actually I've just lightened it. Oh, nice. So I haven't desaturated, I've just lightened it and I've blurred it. Then I've got the midground, which is just the chair. This is really just for the chair. So you can see on the midground layer that I'm just masking out the chair so that it's not blurred. Oh, my dog wants to leave. You can leave, bud. Go ahead. All right, the option's open for you. The option's there. Anyway, so I've got the midground. Next, I wanted just a regular wood table. So what I did with this is in this image, I just kind of added it in place and masked it off. Didn't have to do too much to it, which is always nice to not have to put too many effects on something. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. So, oh yes, that's right. In this comp, I'm actually just repeating this image. So I got this image from textures.com, which is a great website for creating wooden textures or just in general getting reference images for anything you can imagine, bricks, wood, or you name it, metal. And it even has repeating textures, which is great for doing 3D animation, but I just needed something that was seamless. So I'm using CC Reptile, which basically just repeats your image for as many pixels as you need, which is great. And it even has different effects you can use. You can like checker things, or you can rotate them randomly, or unfold is sometimes good. But I don't like unfold here because you can kind of see this like Rorschach style pattern happening at the seams. So repeat is definitely what I wanted. So that looks good. So I just wanted to kind of extend this wood table here so that it covered the area I want, and then I made that a 3D layer, and I'm just literally rotating that and moving it down. And I'm going for like kind of a gumball style here, so that means like vector, flat art along with photorealistic art. Hey, Alex. Alex is here. I'm working on a kind of a comic animation for Instagram, and today I want to just walk you through some of the like little vignettes that I've been making, and hopefully update the puppet a little bit. But the puppet might be something I do off stream because it's going to require a little bit more research, and it's chugging on my computer a little bit. So I might use just the old one for now because it's fine enough, and I can work on that periodically. So I made a quick plate. Like I said, I'm going for that kind of amazing world of gumball style, and that involves like photorealistic backgrounds with vector items on it, which is kind of fun. Yeah, this is After Effects. After Effects is a great Adobe product because it's something that's easy to get started with, but fun to master. So now that I've got like my plate here and like my midground and background, I can literally put my character in here and start animating him. Oh, and then I did some color correction type stuff. Just added a little vignette to kind of pull the focus from the corners. And then all on top of that, I added a photo filter and a little curves just to kind of, I find that when I'm kind of mashing all these things together for a matte painting or for a background, I like to add like a photo filter or a color correction so that it kind of unifies everything just a little bit, grounds everything. So I've got this one, which is fine. Oh, nice. The converted one's fine. And let's see if I can find another one, because I think these are pretty cool. Yes, yes, yes. You have to convert it. That's no problem. Typekit. Oh, that's right. I had to download some graffiti type for this one, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Where do I have that? I have that graffiti on my computer somewhere. I always hate working with. Here it is. Let's just extract this really quick. Yeah, there it is. And we'll install this font quickly. This font is actually pretty neat. I just needed some graffiti for the street, so I got one off DaFont. I'm using Dawn Graffiti from DaFont. I believe it's 100% free. So let me just reopen this file. That way it will automatically relink. Yes, yes, yes. There we go. Nice. Okay, so what am I doing here? I think this is pretty cool. Let's see if we can get it to play too. So in this part of the comic, I'm going to have my little character running on the street because, you know, I've been trying to do a little bit of running myself, and it's kind of annoying to do all the time. So I think it'd be fun to get the that vibe. So I started with an image again from Unsplash. I needed something that was like straight on, straight ahead, but wasn't didn't have too many people. So all I did was I found an image. Let's see if I can find the original here in my assets folder. There it is. Let me just preview this. So here's the original image. It's got this guy here. So I just removed this guy in Photoshop because I didn't need him. I added like a mailbox or something, some graffiti. And maybe I can even add some camera shake. So what I did here, it's not too bad. So let's start from the beginning. We've got our image. Then we've got a mailbox vector. And the mailbox vector, the post box, was actually... let me get my workspace here. The mailbox vector was red originally. I did not need a red one. So it was red. And I believe I'm also doing some layer style stuff. So when I'm going through in my head as I'm adding these assets, is I need to add a little bit of light and shadow to make things believable. I like to match the shadow colors that are already in the image, and you can already see here it's kind of soft lighting, so it's probably overcast day here. And then there's this really neat effect in After Effects called change to color, where you literally dictate a color that you want to pull from, and you tell it what to kind of transform it to, and you have all these other little bits and doodads that can help you match the color you want. So I just wanted something blue because it's what I'm used to. So so I made it blue. Seemed like a good idea. So then I added a shadow, which is just a little black solid. Then I've got my graffiti, which says Dantham was here, which is a shout out to my D&D crew, because I think Dantham is a really fun name. So if there's a guy in our Dungeons and Dragons crew whose name is Dantham. So I'm saying Dantham was here. And then I needed to distress this graffiti a bit, so I have this noise, this fractal noise that I'm using as a matte, as a Luma matte, which is just taking the black and white values and distressing it, which is good. So I thought that was good. We've got our SUV, which is kind of neat. So I got this SUV vector off of, I think I got it off Pixabay. And so basically it just drives by. Let's see. Phil, do it for us. There you go. That's it. So I've got just latent motion blur here. But because it's close to the camera, I also darkened it with a hue and saturation. And because it's like not in focus in the lens, quote unquote, I just did a little camera blur. And then on top of that, I've got a little rim shadow using the inner shadow layer style. And that combined with hue and saturation, camera lens blur, and motion blur, which is down here, you get a little, so it'll be a nice little framing device. It'll make it feel a little bit more real, and it adds another vector thing to this little scene. And then again, I've got another vignette just pulling from the corners here, and color correction, which is going to make it look good. Cool. All right, and then one more. So I'm gonna say, you know, I'm eating beets. I'm trying to jog more, and then on top of that, I'm literally gonna make a robot version of me, which is gonna be funny. And for that, I'm in kind of like a gross warehouse. So I built this. Yeah, we'll save that one. That's good. That's fine. It has to convert that. So this one's a lot creepier. Chelsea says the car looks awesome. Thank you. The car does look pretty neat. I'm really excited about that particular asset. I think it's a neat touch. So this is the creepy warehouse. So I'm going to have my character right here. He's going to pull this switch down, and then we'll kind of pull back or zoom back, and you'll see the robot version come into frame. It's going to be great. I have yet to build the robot version, so maybe that's for tomorrow or something like that. So again, I thought I was going to use a brick, just like a seamless brick texture, but I ended up just using this image, which was plenty big. I liked it because it had these kind of disgusting windows, but was still dead on, which is good. Then I have this chain. If I can, there it is. This chain piece and this metal scraps. All of these are from textures.com, I believe, except for this one, which is from Unsplash, I think. So I have this brick background here, which is where I'm doing most of the work. And first things first, got my broken windows here, nothing special. And then I added this, like, I'm imagining like a metal panel kind of nailed to the wall. I guess I could add some nails. And I'm just beveling that to kind of get the light and the shadow. And it's got a little bit of, let me change my workspace here. It's got a little drop shadow, just a quick drop shadow effect just to ground it. Then I had to put like these tracks in there for this pull lever. I'm not really, I gotta be honest, I'm not basing this on like an actual lever. I'm just imagining it's a switch. So this isn't anything special. It's just two gray lines with a bevel, or excuse me, with a little roughen edges and an inner shadow, just to make it a little rough. So nothing special on that. Then I've got my little triangle warning. I just made a little triangle shape, and I guess I could roughen edges that as well. Oh, I did. Oh, I'm so smart. Not enough though. Oh, I didn't. I clicked on the wrong layer. Let's copy this and paste it. just to add a little rough. That looks even better. And we should probably do the same thing for the exclamation point. Yeah, nice, nice. And I've got the lever itself, which is just a shape layer. Now here I didn't go like a photo or realistic sort of texture. I just did a solid because I think it's like a good contrast between this busy texture and this busy texture, and then you get something, especially since it's going to be moving. I think it's good to keep that solid. So that's what I'm going. Then I got two chains. The chains, I wanted them to sway. But before I could do that, I had to do a couple annoying things. So first things first, I had to repeat it because it just wasn't long enough. So luckily this chain is, you can see there's a hard edge here, but no one's really going to pay attention to that because it's a minor aspect. Then there was this white rim around this. So I had to just put a little choker on it, which just gets rid of that white matte layer, or that white edge around it. Drop shadow, just to make it look like it's removed from the wall a bit, and then this bending actually is what is allowing it to bend. It has a limit, you can see, but this will bend your layer up on a threshold. I wonder if I move it in the layer order, if it'll stop doing that. Oh, no, that's worse. That's so much worse. Maybe, I don't know. It's not really going to do anything different. Oh, maybe before the choker. Nope. So I'm animating it to its limit, and then I've only got, let's see, 2 keyframes on these guys. And then I've got just one little piece of script here that just tells it to keep animating between those 2 keyframes. So then I duplicated it, offset it, so I got 2 of them. So now they should, let's take this off of full for a second. They should, ooh, look at that. Not in unison. So all of that combined to make this. So then I just added some vignettes, little color correcting to make it a little gloomy, and then we did a kind of a Dutch angle, so that we're close up, and then when we pull back it'll be better. So that's kind of what we're up to here. So let's see. So we're gonna have to animate each one of these scenes individually, pull them all into Premiere, edit them together. I don't have any sound recorded yet, so but I'm not worried about it for tonight. And then when we render it out, it'll be a nice little video for Instagram. Woo. So why don't we start with we'll just get right into it. There's no need to make a new puppet today. That's gonna eat up my entire night, and I won't be happy with it until very late in the game. That's just not interesting to watch. So we'll just use the old one, which is fine. So let's open up that kitchen shot first. We'll save that, the converted one. There we go. Okay. So what we need to do first is we need to get my puppet in here. And then we're going to make like some beets, because beets are gross and funny. I think beets are a funny food. Okay, so let's get him in here. Let's just... drag you right in here. Okay, let's keep this low and let's take a look. So I can go over the puppet as well, which is kind of I love these plugins I'm using. So the two plugins that I'm using that don't come with After Effects are called Joysticks and Sliders, which gives me these little controllers here on the all around it. And the other one is called Rubber Hose 2 by Battle Axe. They're both relatively cheap, all things considered, like $40, which is nice. So all these little controllers are for moving stuff around. So this one controls my character's head. So I can do a little animation here by animating the position of this controller. So you should be able to see it. Let's see if we can. There, you can see it happening a little bit. It's not the easiest thing to see in real time, but it always comes out really fun. Okay, so let me delete these keyframes. Delete. There we go. And we'll zero this position out. So all of these have different controls. This one is, I believe, for the pupils. No, this is for the eyelids. I should label that. Here it is. This is for the pupils. Okay. So what we do is we're going to pre-compose this character composition into the main one. So it's always good to name your layers, and it's also always good to hide things that you know you definitely don't need to have out. So for me, I'm going to need the hands. So let's find the hands here in my long layer stack. Ooh, I have my hide secret layers, which that's kind of a way to just like declutter the hide layers function. I like its little icon. It's like a giant man with a gianter nose. I don't know. So let's find those. Hand should be by that. Oh, I'm looking for the wrist. There's that one. And the other wrist should be towards the bottom. There it is. And then we can turn those shy layers back on. So this will allow us to move the arm and rotate it. So let's hop back into our kitchen comp, and then we can drag. Well, before we do that, let's rope off the things we don't want to touch. I don't want to touch this adjustment layer. I don't want to touch the vignette. I might want to touch the plate. I definitely don't want to touch this. I'm going to lock that. I'm basically going to lock everything except maybe the plate. And I might even like shy this stuff too, so that I don't have to look at it. I don't want to see you no more. Oh, actually I do need those. Can't do any layer order without it. So let's do this. Nice. So we can already see what my color correction's doing to it, really bluing him out, which is, it's fine. He looks blue. And we need to go behind the table there. So now he's actually there, but he's tiny. I like this. So that's no big deal. We just need to scale up our puppet. And because he's a vector, it's fine. Let's turn vector on. Continually rasterize him. Maybe let's see what he looks like double the size. A bit too big. A bit too big, I think. Bit too big. Let's make him quarter that. Pretty good. What about 150? Bit too small. We can exaggerate a bit. I think 165 looks good. When in doubt, go to 65. Ooh, so this isn't good. I can't put him here because I masked off this like napkin stuff. So we just need to make sure this illusion stays. There, that's my limit. Okay, great. Now, so the annoying thing about this setup I have is sometimes I have to like jump into this composition so that I can animate my character and then jump back to see what it actually looks like. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So first things first, let's have him rotate it down a little bit, his head, a little bit down. He's got to look at the plate. Oh, wrong way. There we go. And then I kind of want to move, so it's good to save. Kind of want to move his arms a bit. Go. Okay. I also want to move these shoulders a little bit because I'm going to mean that pose that's like, I don't like beats. So you need the shoulders to give you that. Ooh. Let's see. Ooh, what's happening on YouTube? Hope nothing. Chelsea asks if my puppet is going to talk. Yes. Yes, eventually. But I need to record the dialogue for that, and no one wants to see that. But it's not going to be anything big. It's just going to be, you know, like out of breath, new year, new me. As he's running, and then a more like new year, new me, ka-chunk, and then we'll get some like lightning effects and all that stuff. But one thing that's kind of interesting about Instagram and social media videos is that you have to have subtitles on them, otherwise. Like, people don't normally browse social media with their sound on, right? I don't do that. Do you guys do that? So part of me feels like, is it pointless to record dialogue? Let's purge some of our disk cache here. Let's go all memory, and then purge our image cache too. That just frees up a little space. So what was I doing? Oh yes, the shoulders. The shoulders. Let's unhide that stuff. Should be right here. Dink. And then towards the top. Dink. And again, I'm just kind of bumping these up. That's good. Other shoulder, dink. Move this up. Let's not break too much. That's good. Okay. Let's see. Chelsea says, am I voicing? Yes, I will be voicing the character. I don't. I voice stuff for quickness. Like, that way I can work on this stuff by myself. I don't have to ask other people to, hey, will you record this line of dialogue? Oh, hey, that didn't sound right. You know, it's just easier. And if it's kind of a autobiographical channel in comics, so makes sense, right? Chelsea says, hell no, I do not do that. She does not go through her feed with the sound on. Yeah, the people who do that are kind of, I hesitate to say crazy people, but they're definitely a burden sometimes. Let's see. So let's see how this is looking. Load up. Nice. Our eyebrows are looking kind of soft here. I wonder. I bet you. Where are the brows? The brows. Why are they looking so fuzzy? I know I'm at low quality, but just gotta make sure that they're, aha, see, they're not being continually rastered. deep, deep, deep in their pre-comps. There we go. So after, ta-da! Oh, look, they look sharp now. Much better. Much, much better. Okay, so let's get some face stuff going on here. I need to up the resolution of my composition here for a minute. It's gonna look a little sad. Nice, little bit. And then let's get the eyelids the way I want them to. Should be down here, I believe. Too much, too far. Can't see enough of the pupil. And then this is the annoying part about the mouth. I kind of have to go deep into my layers, deep into my pre-comps. And this is what I was talking about. So each one of these mouth shapes that I have is 1 frame long. And the way I have to animate it is I have to time remap all of these little shapes that I've built, which works for the most part, but it's just not very organic. I think I can get some better design later. So let's see what this looks like. So in my head comp, so here's where I have to do it. So in with this layer here, I have to say I want the mouth that's at frame, we'll try this one at frame 12. So I have to go to my head comp and then type in 12. There we go. That's better. That's better. We can even slide through this if we want. I like this one's good. 11. That's the one I want. 11. Oh, these are setting keyframes. No big deal. Bring that one to the front. All right. So now then what we can do is, one thing I do like about this is I have the freedom to kind of like move this around. We can put it real high or real low. What I do like, how do we rotate this? This is the fun part. And I'll scale it down a bit. Already looking pretty nonplussed about these beats that are going to be happening. I think I need to move myself down a bit. Oh, yeah, that's what I want. I also need more of a, you ever notice when you're drawing something, you're like making the face of whatever you're drawing, like, I think I need more expressive eyebrows here. So let's take this brow. Make sure to save. Always good to save. Maybe that's better. Yeah, I like that. Nice. Okay. So I think this is the part of the stream where we have to look at reference images of beats. Beats. So here, I'll even immerse you guys as well. I recognize that beats are like vivid colors and have a distinct flavor. I just don't personally like that flavor. I think it tastes like dirt. And I've got people who are defensive that say, no, they don't taste like dirt. And then I've got people who are real with me and they're like, no, real talk. These taste like dirt. And that's okay. So what is the what screams beet shape-wise? I think it's this kind of like bulb, definitely. Little greens. And I guess they can also come like sliced. Whoa, there's a lot more chat. I wish I had a little ping that said when there's chat. What game is this, says Evan? Evan, this is the game of life. Tanya's asking, if he talks, how do you make the mouth move? I use this composition here, and I can make that move. And then I can keyframe it that way. Ooh. Ann Meyer, subscribe to my channel. Yay! Chelsea says, beets are great. How dare you? Beets are not great, decidedly. They are dirt. They taste like where they come from. Tanya asks, do I record the mouth first, then... Do I record the dialogue first, then make the mouth move? Yes. Yes, I record the dialogue, and then I match the mouth with the recording I make. Okay, so I put this on 11, I believe. There we go. That's better. Okay, so beets. All right, so we're gonna use we're gonna make a shape layer here, I think, and I think they could be vector. We could go to a website and see what we got. We can go to like Pixabay. Pixabay is a great website for free stock images and vector images. Even has a couple stock videos too that you can use. I've used those a couple times. Caitlin says beets need goat cheese. This is a fact. Yes, goat cheese makes pretty much everything taste good. Pretty much. So let's see. Beets. I want a vector. So let's see. Vector. These just aren't really matching my style so far. Let's see. But sometimes these can be a good way to get the ideas flowing of how you want it to look. Ugh. I don't like any of these. This is a neat little etching. I like that. But not for this project at all. Yeah, we'll just make our own. It'll be just as fast. The other thing to notice, do you guys know if beets come in a specific package? Like, do you look in the mirror to mimic the expression when recording the voice? And beets rule, says Tanya. Yeah, what I like to do is I can look at either like my webcam or a mirror or something, and after a while you kind of just like, there's a lot of cheats you can do to make things look the way you want or feel the way you want. Eyebrows down means like disgruntled or something like that. So actually, let's turn this head a bit more. There we go. Bit turned. What that's doing is it makes just pulling these out and pulling this ear in and moving the eyes to the right side of my head so that it gives the illusion of 3D, even though these are just 2D images moving. Okay, we're gonna save this, and then we're gonna build some beets. Beets. See, that already looks better. A little bit more turned. So what I want to do is we'll put like a bag of beets or something here. Frozen. I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's go to... I guess I could put... there's the answer. We'll do sliced canned beets for extra grossness. Now I know If I was truly trying to do a health kick, I would do fresh beats, but this is for comedy, so we'll do a can of beats. That's easy enough. So we'll make a can. So first we need to make a label. So let's make a new composition. Every time I want to make a new asset inside of After Effects, I normally make a new composition unless it's going to be pretty simple. And this is going to be just a little complex, meaning it's just going to have a couple layers. So I'm going to make it its own composition. So inside of After Effects, I'm going to go to Composition, New Composition, and we'll call this Beats Comp. And the timing, all that stuff is fine. I don't really need it to be this big. We can crop it later. We can crop that later. So let's make a new shape layer. So I'm going to grab my pen tool and I'll make it like a beady sort of color, they're kind of red. Are they orange red? No, they're more purple red. Like, that's pretty good. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. And actually, I'll use my ellipse tool because they're basically ellipses anyway. And we'll do something like that. Just kind of. We do not need a stroke on this. And what I want to do here is we're going to grab our pen tool and just manipulate this. I'm going to add a anchor point to this. Oops. At least I should be able to. Ah. Oh, you know what? So After Effects does this weird thing where if you just click and drag your ellipse tool, it's not going to create the anchor points for you on your shape. So I do believe I need to delete this shape and recreate it. What is the Shift maybe? No. Alt? Yes. That's right. At least that looked right. Yes. Okay, so in order to get your anchor points to show up, which the anchor points are these little handles here, in order for them to show up, you have to hold down the Alt key. I'm surprised I remember that. I feel smart. You guys ever do that? Tony says, maybe don't use beets since you know nothing. Potatoes, perhaps. Pepperidge Farm, Goldfish. Fair. Those are all fair. But I would argue that beets are funnier. But I know what you're getting at. So we're just going to add some anchor points here. Yeah. Something like that. And we're going to sharpen that little point here, converting that vector. Nice. Already feeling more beatly. Nice. Am I a joke to you? Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so we've got our basic shape. This looks decent. And we're gonna make like a really. It's gonna bug people that this isn't perfectly up and down. So what I'll do is I'll grab my rulers and just kind of center this up for those of us who have strong opinions. Chelsea says, look up Doug reference. Yes, I was just thinking about that. I loved those songs as a kid. I remember one was like, need more allowance, right? Need more allowance. Ooh, something like that. I don't remember any of their other songs. Do you guys remember any of those songs? It took me altogether too long to realize that the beats were a joke or like a play on the Beatles, and I'm sad to admit that it took way longer than it should have to realize that, like, as an adult. It was years after the show was off that I was like, hey. Okay, so let's add text to this can. Call them beats. What's font am I using here? Oh man, some kind of script font. I must have been doing something. There we go. Let's do something. Canned beats. Oops. Beats. Nice. Drop that way down. This is already feeling fine, actually. This already looks like a bad representation of canned beats, which is funny. So let's add the green stocks here for a second. And before I get any further, let's just say beat main so that I can name my layer, stay organized. It's important to stay organized within your Adobe products. Let's change this color. I'm gonna make a new shape layer. And for this, we're just gonna do something that's like, yeah, perfect. So let's take a look at these Bezier handles for just a second. Get a bit more rounded. Get rid of this weird corner. Nice, that looks fine. Okay, so we're gonna call this shape layer the beat greens, and it's gonna go beneath that. Might scale it a bit. Actually, I'm not gonna scale it because I do need to duplicate things. So this shape we'll call like left green, and we'll call this one right green, and this one go into its contents here, and we'll scale it negative 100%. There we go. We'll rotate it a bit. Might need 3 of these, actually. 2's not bad. It's not the end of the world. Okay. What are we gonna do? We are going to add our text back in. Nice. We'll center it. Turn off my... Oh, much better. Easier to see. And again, this is a kind of a minor asset, so I don't need to spend too much time on it. So what we'll do here is we will create our can. Canned beats. And I don't necessarily want it to be green. So let's make that a nice gray. There we go. Call this can main. And let's take a look. Ooh. Actually, because of the angle here, like you can see the top of this plate and the top of these things, we're gonna have to see the top of the can. I have 2 choices. I can either build the can vector, which is fine, or I can grab an existing can at that angle. Nah, we'll just build it. We'll build it on the angle. So let's get the top of the can. Actually, to match that angle, what we can do is we can go back to this kitchen comp and grab the plate. Boop, copy, paste, and we can remove the bevel and the drop shadow. So let's scale this up first, center the pivot, scale this up, whoop, like that. Nice. And actually, I'm going to use a solid here. I can have a bit more control. Or should be able to take, we'll rename this can top. Duplicate it. Can top needs to go at the top. Can top 2 can go down here. So that way I'll have that nice round edge. And then we can take just a regular old solid. Layer, new solid. I'll match it to this guy. And I'll lower the transparency here. How do you do perspective in After Effects, asks Chelsea. There's just like in a lot of programs, there's different ways to do it. If you're doing something flat, you can make a layer 3D by clicking this little wireframe box, and that gives it the kind of X, Y, and Z axis, and then you can kind of rotate it. Oops. You can rotate it in different ways. Here what we're going to do is we're going to fake it, though. We're not going to, because it doesn't have to move or do anything, so we're just going to fake it a little bit. By faking it, I mean we're just going to make a 2D image that looks like it's going to fit here. And it may not be, it's not really an exact science for that. But perspective in AE can be tricky sometimes, but other times it can be really a breeze because you don't have to do any thinking actually. Curve this. And back over. I don't know if that curve is right. I'm going to just reset this anchor point here. Just going to match it up just a bit. So we'll call this our can main. Raise this. There we go. So, my layers are all out of sorts here. Beats, greens, go behind the beats. Can top goes right here. Here we go. Move this down. Move this over. And we'll line all this stuff up a bit more exact in a bit. Just gonna shift this over a bit. There we go. We may not have too many anchor points here. And what we can do is we can just convert this using the Convert Bezier tool. Bring this down. And we're just looking to match this. Now what I can do, is I can bring this over and we can just add a bit of a lip to the can. And I'm not too worried about this being absolutely perfect. Oops, didn't mean to do that. There we go, better. Okay. Already looking kind of good. All right, so now we can change the color of this. Control-Shift-Y for the hotkey to bring up the controls here. There we go. Okay, it's already looking decent. We got a little bit of a lip here, which it's driving me crazy. There we go. Nice. this, what do I do here? Because I do want a little bit of a lid. Oh, here's what we'll do. We'll duplicate it, and we're going to scale it down. And we are going to match this color, maybe a bit brighter. And then on this, we're going to add a layer style, layer styles, inner shadow. There we go. See what that kind of makes it look a little bit like it's got a little shadow coming from this. It's too sharp, but we just need to edit it. So distance, and the light is coming from, again, it's kind of flat lighting, kind of above, but we'll match this, which is coming from the upper left. So let's do that. So we're just going to adjust the angle a bit like that, up the size, and lower the opacity here. All right. So there's our can for now. It looks a little flat, which is okay, because we're gonna do some stuff in the pre-comp. So before we do that, let's save and go back to our main composition here, and I'm gonna put that can of beats in here. Organize it a bit and put that right here. Oh, it's huge. That's fine. Let's scale this way down. Do it by like 25. That's better. Nice. So that perspective, at least it's staying consistent. Okay. Can beats. Now, if I'm looking at this on my cell phone screen, which is where this is going to live, that doesn't read too well. So I'm going to have to update this. So before I can size and scale some things, I'm going to just clean this up a bit. This was our can upper lip, right? Because that's essentially what this is doing. And this is our can top. We'll just call this top. Beats main. Let's have the greens follow the main. So I'm just going to grab this little swirly guy here and parent that. So now wherever this goes, that follows. And I can lock these so I don't touch them. Can main, that's named correctly. This is can bottom. That's better. And I'll lock that. I don't need to do anything with that. And then we've got our text. So the text definitely needs to be bigger. It needs to take up like a whole bunch of it. We can put this towards the top. And then we can grab our beats. Maybe bring that over here. And I liked it better under can beats. And what we can do is we can duplicate it. Ross is here. Hi, Ross. 86 the text, says Ross. I like the way you think. I like the way you think. I'm into it. 86 the beats, he says. Sometimes when something's not working, you just got to get rid of it. Let's center this bad boy. Let's go to our line, do that. There we go. Actually, we should just center everything. Boop. There we go. Actually, the reason that didn't totally work is not everything was... Now, our layers were a bit unexact, so we do need to scooch this over. Very good. Okay. I said the text, but that works. Didn't I do that? Did I not do that? I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Boop. There. That's decent. That's decent, especially for what it is. It's just something small here to add to the scene. So we do need to ground this a bit. So we're going to add some effects to this. Just save our composition here. So what I'm going to use is we're going to do a gradient overlay, layer styles, gradient overlay. And this is just going to add a little shadow towards the bottom of our can, and we'll set that to multiply it, just kind of ground it a little bit. So let's go into our layer styles here in our layer, and we'll change the blending mode to multiply. So that just takes the white values and makes those transparent, and the black values stick around. We're going to flip the gradient, so reverse it. And we're going to edit the gradient here. Colors, edit gradient. So we're going to take the black value here and bring that way up. That's a lot better. And we're also going to take our gradient and shrink that. We don't want this to be too dark. Nice. And then it needs a shadow. And maybe even a bevel. We can try beveling it. I don't know what that's going to look like. Bevel edges on this entire composition. Oh god, it looks terrible. Oh, I want a bevel alpha. It doesn't look much better. Yeah, this is just making it look. This is like sticking it out. Do I have VC Reflect on this? No, I didn't. I just updated my After Effects, so I don't have the VC Reflect plugin. So that's no problem. We'll just grab one of our solids and make a good old shadow that way. We're going to call this Beats Shadow. Ooh, that sounds like some kind of headphones. Ah, my Beats Shadow. They just got in, dude. Alright, we'll keep it nice and tapered in. And we're going to feather this a lot. Let's do 50. Not terrible. Let's brighten up the beats. They do need to pop a bit. So let's grab the beats main and let's make it a bit more vibrant. And we could add some like striations. Nah, too much time on this can already. Okay, what's my favorite After Effects tool? My favorite After Effects tool, I mean, if I can pick joysticks and sliders, that's what I would pick because it's magic. But one that's native within After Effects, I think my favorite tool, I love CC Reptile. I think that is a tool that I end up using a lot, especially for just kind of extending things or making things repeat. The other After Effects tool that I was originally really lukewarm on was the shape layer. I used to hate shape layers. But I was wrong. I'm big enough to admit when I was wrong because the shape layer is actually an amazing tool. Shape layer is just a tool that lets you do all kinds of things. And what's really neat about them is, see if I can find one really quick. They've got all of these options you can add. You can add all of these different sort of functions there. You can offset things, you can repeat things, you can do all kinds of interesting little expressions all within one layer. So it's clean, it's fast, it's vector, and I was totally wrong about them. I might duplicate this top just for a second, just so we get those kind of like. Oh yeah. Oh, look how that just adds just a little bit of realism. And one more. That's like a perfect. Nice. Oh yeah, beautiful. Cool. All right, so now we need to add some gross beats to my plate. Do I want to use the beat that I already made? Probably. Probably. Let's do it. Okay. So I'll stick inside of here. Oh, first things first, let's make sure I parent things accordingly. Nice. Okay, block that, don't need it. Save, always good to save. Don't want to crash on the stream. That would be bad. Okay, collapse these. Okay, let's look more at these beats. Here's what I should do. I should make something like this. You know? Basically that. I guess I could just straight up trace it. It's not that hard. Mainly just a circle. Okay. Let's make some more beats. Again, let's make a pre-comp. It's always good to make a pre-comp layer. Composition, new composition. Call this plate beats comp. And why don't we take my plate shape here for a second, and we'll just put it in here for a reference. Just for a reference point. I'm gonna scale this up. I know I'll end up scaling the beats down, but that's fine. Let's bring my reference up here. Rough and Edges is clearly the best After Effects tool, says Ross. Rough and Edges is also pretty magic. It's a when you need Rough and Edges, it's like the only answer, really. It's like the only thing that'll do the trick. So I definitely hear you. It's definitely a runner up in my head. Okay, lock this. Where's my beats that I'm looking at? All right, so it's like a circle, two circles here, another circle, some greens. All right. Let's take a look. And let's grab that beach color, which I'll just copy this code here. Actually, you know what? I'm just making more work for myself. I should just trace this, even if it's just a stock image. Save image. Okay. Desktop. Just save it to my desktop real quick. There we go. Actually, what the heck file was that? It's like a web page. BP file? I don't think so. I'm just gonna take a screenshot. Perfect. Beats image. There we go. Okay. File, import file. Let's go to my desktop here. There we go. Okay. Put that in my assets. Now we can just trace it, because at the end of the day, what's the point? So this is looking good. Oops, I'm creating a mask on that. Don't want to do that. Okay. And I kind of like the idea of it being a little irregular. You know, because beats are irregular. There we go. And this should be a bit lighter, right, than the outside. So I like that it's beat red. But then I'll keep this one shape layer. For this one, we'll make it darker. Okay, so call this beat 1, and inside of this we got to go to the contents. Shape 1 is our beat face. And this we got to pull down in the order, and we'll call this beat outer. And I believe we can just, there we go. Nice. Feeling good about that. If I turn this off, how does that look? Needs a little editing. Needs just a little edit, little love. Nice. Okay. All right. Next beat. We will make a new shape here. Oops. Okay. And then I'm gonna actually pull this out. Ooh, that's way too sharp. That is way too sharp. There we go. Oh, much better. And we'll just have a taper like that. All right, nice and irregular. Call this beat 2. Put this underneath, gotta be underneath. Do I want to make all those? How does it look without it? Actually look decent without it. I think I'll be fine. And then we'll add some greens in betwixt them. So let's just make a layer. And this one will definitely use roughen edges. Okay, make it green. Kind of darker green. Put it between the beats. Yes. Yes. Do you ever catch yourself being like Emperor Palpatine sometimes? Like, yes, good. Good. I do that way too often. Okay, so we're going to take the beats to... oh, that's right. Greens. I was naming this and I was going to roughen it. Roughen edges. So I want this to be, the border should be a lot. Edge should be sharp. And we want the scale to be smaller. Ooh, not that small. Something like that. And definitely you can see how roughen edges is the only answer. I don't love that. Maybe I can just get a different seed. But like this kind of edge detail can only really be achieved from roughen edges, right? Takes that, turns it to that. It's perfect. It's the perfect effect for this situation. That's for sure. That's for sure. I'm debating whether I need a shadow behind this. I mean, not really. I assume this is just not going to be. People aren't going to be looking at this part of the. They're going to be looking at my face, and it's only going to be on screen for 5 seconds. So this is fine. What we could do is we could take beat 1 here, the beat face, and we can duplicate it. And we can scale this down to get kind of this, like, just like we did with the can. Just like we did with the can, we can take the, I believe it's in path, no. Transform, duh. Scale. Let's move that anchor point. And then we can add a stroke to this. I believe we can go to stroke 1, and we can opacity, bring that up to, oh wait, that's already on. Oh, duh, the stroke width is not on. Set this to 2. And we can set the stroke color to be that. See, that's already looking better. So let's look back at our original image here. It's got a couple. Actually, you know what? It's lighter. It's lighter. Don't you know? So instead, we should make it. It's got to be brighter though. Make it more vivid. And can we feather this? We can just make it faint. Make it 1 pixel. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Beat face 2, duplicate that, go into its transform, scale this down. We won't do too many. We'll do 1 more. And we'll transform that down even further. Nice. I think that's already looking a bit more appealing. Okay. So let's bring these beats in. Beats. We should call this beats can comp. Okay. And then put that on top of the plate. Let's mask this off so that I don't have such a big area. There. And we'll change that to be bright orange. Now, for clarity's sake, that's actually pretty funny to have them kind of large, but too large. Too large. Let's scale these down. Center the pivot point. Oops. Scale that down. I'm going to take off my color correction for now. I don't want it to be too small, though. Perfect. Perfect. Let's grab this shadow, this Beats can shadow, Beats can shadow, and we can just duplicate this for the plate beats here. Grab the mask and delete it, and then we should be able to just like that. Make it a bit longer. Again, just to ground it. And we can feather this by 50 or so. Maybe not even that much, maybe 25. And then lower the opacity of it to the magic opacity of 65. Cool. So that's already looking decent. And then we can take, can we copy layer styles? I think we can. Plate Beats shadow, just naming my layer there, parenting it to the correct one. So I want to take the can of Beats layer style, the gradient overlay, copy it, and paste it onto the plate one. Oh, it worked. It worked. That looks decent. I definitely think that backwards one needs a gradient, which is easy to add because it's a shape layer. So if you go into your shape here, we can go to add gradient fill. And it should, the start point, see if we can't find it. I don't like that this isn't working. Oh well, we'll use an effect because it's not going to move. Gradient ramp. There, that's better. I like this because it gives you a little bit of a freedom here. But unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to like blend the gradient within the effect, I don't think. So what I'm going to do is we'll say Beats to gradient, and we'll just say this is regular Beats 2, and we'll delete the gradient off of that, and we'll set this one on top of it to multiply. There, perfect. So then now we have control over this gradient. We can just add a little shadow there. That's a lot better. Just adds a little bit of Chelsea says, I like them large. Me too. Me too. I think they look better that way. Cool. A little grounded. All right. So, cool. We've got our can. We've got our beats here. And we've got our character. Turn this back on. See how everything is nice and unified. So we've got all of our pieces. Now, after all of that, we can start animating our character just for this shot. And I think subtlety here is going to be the key. I want it to last, about 5 seconds or so. So maneuver on my timeline here. 5 seconds. 5 seconds might even be too long. Let's think about it. New year, new me. 5 seconds might be good. We'll play it by ear once I have the audio. But okay. So maybe we can add our blink. Does this have any keyframes on it? The blink? No keyframes. That's good. So let's add a blink. Or maybe we'll do the head turn first. Like, kind of like a, like, I don't know about this. So you're going to tilt the head back a little bit. Like, And we'll have, so as we do that, we'll have the eyelids kind of like go up a bit, the eyebrows go up a little bit, the shoulders come up. It's just going to be like a new year, new me kind of thing. So start off, we're going to just keyframe the rotation of the head. So I hit the R key to bring up the rotation. And we'll wait half a second. And we'll have him rotate up like that. So we'll have him do like a forward before he goes back, so a little bit of anticipation, like, you know, you need that forward motion. So I'm going to take this here, copy this keyframe, paste it, and then I'm actually going to rotate it the opposite direction. So you'll get more of like an anticipated sort of look instead of just straight. Okay, so this is this is nice and linear. So we can adjust these keyframes a bit. We're going to add easing to this one. We'll ease this in so that it settles in on that a bit. We're going to make this Bezier curve as well, eased as well. Nice. So that'll be a nice basic movement. Tanya says, did you design the character by first drawing him by hand or within the software? That's a good question. I based it off of drawing. So I drew it out first. And then I wanted to animate the character. So I animated the character using After Effects. And then to do that, I needed to build it with all of these vector layers and things like that. So I definitely drew it first in my comics, and then designed it in the software later. And the pros to designing it inside of a software like this instead of making 2D animation traditionally with like every frame is drawn is after I set this puppet up and all these things, now I have it forever, and it makes it a lot easier and faster to animate these little vignettes. Okay, so as he goes forward, we're going to want him to kind of like blink. It's going to be, and we'll have a little bit of a squash too. So we'll take the blink here, right here. There it is. And we'll set a keyframe. And I'm going to set this to 50, which should be the, oh, I'm at 100. And then I want to set these keyframes because the way this is animated, I don't want to have any sort of in between. What this is doing is it's toggling the transparency of 2 different layers. So if it's in between, you're going to get this muddy, half transparent, half not thing going on. So I'm going to set these to hold keyframes, which basically tells After Effects to not have any in-betweening, any interpolation. That'll just save me a couple headaches there. So, nice. So now we should have a blink Okay, and other things to note about when you blink is you basically always blink when you turn your head. It's weird when you don't, right? It's just an instinct thing. And our eyebrows come down. And for added cartoony effect, I'm going to have the eyebrows come down. I'm going to have the face literally squash down a bit. It'll be a little bit more pleasing. Okay. So let's grab the head here. Scale it. That's how we're going to get our squash. So we'll just set a keyframe here. Oops, we need to move that. So here we want it to be squashed down by, let's say, 90. Ooh, that might be too much. It needs to be slight, you know? There. And we'll move this frame up here. And we'll set this back to 100%. So it should. We might even stretch it then here too, just for added cartooniness. 95, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 frames ahead. It's a little choppy, but that's okay. That's okay. It's probably because these keyframes aren't eased a little bit, and we might even want to interpolate that a little bit differently. Adjust the timing a bit. Maybe back, offset it by 2 frames. No, I can already tell that doesn't look good. Let's put those back. Other way? Sometimes it's good to just test these things out. So he comes down. Let's see. So now I'm just kind of going through frame by frame to see if I like it. Where's the other keyframes? Maybe that's why. Maybe it's taking too long. How about that? That looks better. That looks better. Reason being, it was like squashing at the end after it had already finished, and now it's kind of settling instead of starting. So we just move these keyframes, and now that's what was wrong. And sometimes the only way to do it is to look at it. So what are you animating in this scene? Asks Chelsea. I'm animating the puppet looking at these gross beats and just saying like new year, new me, kind of looking at, he's going to say new year, new me. And he's skeptical of his new life choices of eating beets. That's really the point of this little shot. Nice, I can already see this is looking decent. Cool. So I can already, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of looking at this playback and I'm saying the lines, new year, new me. So that's going to last maybe 3 seconds, and I think I can get it to last 4 or 5 seconds. I'm just timing it out in my head saying the lines over and over. And now what I can do is I can add some animated flair. And one thing also to remember is because I'm putting this on social, like I do want to have a spot for subtitles. So I'm going to put the subtitles probably up here above his head for that. So now what we're going to do, done with that composition, done with that one. Let's animate the body. So let's rotate it forward a bit. And the body is basically all rotation here. So all rotation, maybe a bit of position. And let's just have this start off. It's always good to have a little overlapping. So I'm going to start it about 2 frames before that. Okay, and then we're going to rotate it back. And let's exaggerate this head rotation. Oops, wrong keyframe. Let's exaggerate this head rotation. I want this sort of motion. I want this like an overlap, so the body leads, then the head follows. You know. So to get that, I need to animate the body rotating. And sometimes you gotta exaggerate first. And then we'll ease this keyframe. Easy, ease it. There we go. Let's see what this looks like. Oh gosh. So this body rotation is definitely taking too long. All right, and there's just not enough interpolation for this to happen, so we might do that. And let's rotate this back, actually. Again, for more of that overlap. Right, just a little bit of overlapping and action happening. That does not work at all. Maybe if we pull this out. And we'll ease that as well. Easy, ease in. See what this looks like. Oh, I see. Sometimes you have to get the motion in your body first. I need to rotate this ahead first. Rotate this forward, I mean. I think. Sometimes... Alright. So that's looking okay. Oops. It's looking okay. Just give that a little breathing room. It's too fast. It's too fast in general. Might just be good just to delete it. I think I like this better. Great. So I like the rotations on it. Let's add a little bit of positioning. You know, kind of going up, bit down, bit up, and then back to the beginning. Let's see what this looks like. Nice. It's getting a little bit of just a little personality, just a little intrigue to it. I like the way this is going, so I just add a little bit of downward motion so that it's not all linear, you know? Okay. And these shoulders, I like where they ended up, but I don't want them to start there. Oh, why did I do that to that? I do want to see those keyframes. There we go. So let's take our shoulders, and we'll have them by the end of this. I do want them to be here. So we'll just say the position is going to be that. And got to scroll up to our other shoulder here. Where is it? There it is. Position that. So we're kind of we're animating this backwards because I have the shoulders where I want them to be, and now I'm going to go previously in the timeline and have them down. Put them down. Killing it, bro, says Johnny. Thanks, Johnny. Let's take our shoulders, move down. Let's take this shoulder and this one, control, move these down. So then have them move down even further. All right, see what this looks like in motion. Nice. So in practice, this is looking pretty good. So what we'll do is we'll have he'll move, he'll say "New Year, New Me," and then he'll blink twice, like bink, bink. Oh, the eyebrows! I forgot the eyebrows. Don't want to forget the brows. This is even trickier. Oh no, it's not, because I've got the I've got a controller for it. Okay, so starting from where the blink is, let's start these up a bit, like that, and we'll hit the P key to bring up our position, and then we'll just move this down the timeline, move our brows way down, and then keep moving forward on the timeline, and that's good. Where am I? There we are. So I'm looking at this layer right here. Add a little bit of easing to this. Ease in, just for now. Ease this one as well with a hotkey. And let's see what this looks like. Nice, a little bit of motion. See how that just makes the blink a bit more believable? Bit more believable. And then from here, we can even have it kind of drift up a bit. Oh, that's nice and expressive. We'll ease that as well. But this one needs some eats out as well. So let's see what that looks like. I think this takes too long to happen. No one's brows move that slowly, you know? It's kind of faster. So let's say it happens in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It happened 6 frames will happen 2 frames earlier. This does not need to ease out. I can already tell. It's kind of like dragging too much, and it just doesn't feel natural for what brows do. So I'm just going to remove that ease and add just the ease in. I don't want it to bezier out. I want it to bezier in. You know what? It still feels weird. It still feels weird. I don't like it. I'm going to take the easing out altogether. Yeah, that's the right move. Maybe it's this keyframe that I don't like. You know, that feels a lot better. That's what the problem was. That's why it felt so significant. It was because it was a full keyframe. You know. Yeah, that already feels better. I like it. I like it a lot. And then finally, after all that, let's go to that blink control. Blink, blink, blink. Blink, blink, blink. And after, we'll say at the 3.5 second mark, right here, we'll have some more blinks. And luckily, we can just copy those. 2, 3, 4. Set this to 0. 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, do 2. Okay. And then can't forget the brows. So we'll just animate the brows a bit. So here we'll do 2 frames before they start to move. Tink, tink. Have them come down. Not too much. Okay. And we'll just copy this keyframe here and paste it so that we don't have to do too much. And we'll paste this down here. And open those eyes. There we go. So let's see what this blink looks like. Nice. A little subtle. Not crazy. Right? Taking a page out of Chuck Jones's book, like what's the smallest motion you can do to get a laugh? Something like that. So, let's see what we got in this little, because the shot's only 5 seconds long. That's really all I want it to be. New year, new me. It might be too long. It might be too long. We'll see. I need the dialogue. That's okay. Whew! That was a lot. That was a lot for a little. Oh. But that's good. That's why I like doing this. All these different layers. One of my favorite things to watch is watching people do matte paintings and layer all these things. So I really do enjoy bashing all of these elements together. So I love my background. I think it's really fun. I like taking these images and making them into little scenes, you know. I like building these assets. They're kind of lame, but they're doing the job, that's for sure. I think the last thing I'll do tonight is I'm going to do the fun part that really pulls the character together. So I'm going to add a little bit of a rim light and add a little shadow on him. I think it's going to make it good. So what we actually like to do for this, let's talk about how we do that. To do that, we go to layer styles. And you'd think you'd do like inner glow, but I actually like to do inner shadow because inner shadow has more of a directionality to it. Inner glow kind of is just all encompassing. So we'll do an inner shadow. And the way that inner shadow works, yeah, you can already see it happening. The way the inner shadow works is it just like adds darkness and multiplies it over top. So if we set the blending mode from multiply to screen, and then we take the black color and we make it white, we'll already get that nice little rim going on. So then what we can do is we can adjust the angle a little bit and the distance, just make it a bit thicker, and then we can feather it a whole lot. Nice, so that already kind of grounds him a little bit in the world. And then we can layer styles. Ooh, actually we can take the one from the can. Layer styles. We can take that gradient overlay and we can put that on our character as well. It didn't do too much, but that's kind of all compositing really is. It's a bunch of small steps added over top of each other, and they do incremental things, which is really neat. So let's edit this gradient a bit. We will take this color, make it darker, take this, make it like that. Ooh, too much. There we go. So that just adds that little bit of shadow over here. Whew. Okay, that's how it's done. Nice. I like it. Feels good. A little simple, but you've got this big. Hi, buddy. Come on. You've got this big beat here. You've got the only thing moving, which is nice. You've got a couple vector elements that break up the photorealism here, and you've got enough space up here for subtitles. Not bad for 2 hours. Whew. I think that's where we're going to end today's little stream. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for sticking around. Hope it wasn't wasn't mind-numbing, but it's fun to me. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or send me a message after the fact on Facebook. You can find these animations on Instagram. At Erksome Comic, and you can find this video on YouTube later if you wanted to look at any of the tools. If you prefer me go slower and explain some of the buttons and hotkeys that I'm using, I can do that. But for just the instance in the interest of time, I just kind of glaze over that stuff. But if that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know. Other than that, I think we're gonna end the stream there, guys. Okay. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you guys were doing something fun by yourself or working on another project at the same time. All right. Bye.